I thought delivering food late at night was completely normal, until one night I received an order from a house at the end of a dead-end road. The customer told me to leave the food at the back door, but when I got there, I heard someone inside whispering for help. I was about to open the door when I received a message from the customer. It said, "Leave it outside, don't go inside." The problem was, I had never told them that I was standing at the door. I had been doing food deliveries for almost a year when I got the strangest order of my life. It was around 11:40 p.m. on a cold Friday night. The restaurant was almost empty, and I was about to finish my shift when an order came through. The delivery address was in a neighborhood about 15 minutes away, nothing unusual. The customer had ordered a few items, left no special instructions, and paid online. I accepted the order. At the time, I had no idea that accepting it would be the biggest mistake I had made as a delivery driver. I picked up the food and drove to the address. The neighborhood was quiet. Most of the houses were dark, and there were barely any cars on the street. When I reached the address, I noticed something immediately. The house was at the very end of a dead-end road. There were no other houses directly beside it. Just a tall wooden fence and a small house with all the lights turned off. I checked my phone again. The delivery instructions said, "Leave it at the back door." I thought that was a little strange, but I had delivered to people who didn't want to answer the door before. So I parked in front of the house, grabbed the food, and walked toward the backyard. The gate was unlocked. I opened it and walked through. The backyard was completely dark. I could barely see the house. I turned on my phone flashlight and followed the narrow path toward the back door. When I reached it, I placed the food on the ground. I took a picture for the delivery app. Then I heard something, a quiet sound coming from inside the house. It sounded like someone whispering. I froze. I couldn't understand what they were saying. I stood there for a few seconds, listening. Then I heard it again. This time, I could make out one word: help. I immediately looked at the back door. I thought maybe someone inside was in trouble. I knocked. Hello. No answer. I knocked again. Your food is here. Nothing. Then I heard the voice again. Please. It was definitely coming from inside. I reached for the door handle. It moved. The door was unlocked. I opened it just a few inches. Hello. The inside of the house was completely dark. I could see a small hallway leading toward the front of the house. I didn't want to go inside. Something about the place felt wrong. Then my phone vibrated. I looked down. The customer had sent me a message. It said, "Leave it outside. Don't go inside." I stared at the message. My heart started beating faster. I looked back at the open door. The voice had stopped. I quickly stepped away and closed the door. I walked back toward the gate, but before I reached it, I heard the back door open behind me. I turned around. The door was wide open. No one was standing there. I didn't wait. I ran to my car, got inside, locked the doors, and drove away. I thought that was the end of it. But about 5 minutes later, my phone rang. It was the delivery app. The customer had reported that their food had never arrived. I pulled over. I opened the order details. The photo I had taken was still there. The food was clearly sitting in front of the back door. I contacted support and explained what happened. They told me not to return to the address. I didn't need to be told twice. I finished my shift and went home. The next morning, I received a strange notification. The customer had left a message. It said, "Why did you open the door?" I stared at the screen. I hadn't told them that I opened it. There was no way they could have known. I didn't respond. I deleted the message and tried to forget about it. For the next few days, nothing happened. Then, about a week later, I was working another late-night shift. Around midnight, another delivery came through. I accepted it without looking closely at the address. When I arrived at the restaurant, I checked the order. My stomach dropped. It was the same address, the same house. I almost canceled the delivery, but I didn't. I thought maybe it was a different customer. Maybe the previous order had just been a misunderstanding. I picked up the food and drove there. When I arrived, the house looked exactly the same. Every light was off. The neighborhood was completely silent. I parked farther away this time. I checked the delivery instructions. There was only one sentence: bring it to the back door. I stood beside my car for almost a minute. Then I noticed something. The gate to the backyard was already open. I didn't want to go in, but I also didn't want to cancel the order. So I grabbed the food and walked toward the house. The backyard was darker than I remembered. As I approached the back door, I noticed something on the ground. It was the delivery bag from my previous order. The same bag I had left there a week earlier. I stopped walking. I knew that couldn't be right. I had never left my delivery bag there. I always took it with me. Then I heard footsteps inside the house. Slow footsteps coming toward the back door. I backed away. The footsteps stopped. Then someone whispered from inside. "You came back." I dropped the food. I ran. I didn't look behind me. When I reached my car, I locked the doors and started the engine. As I pulled away, I looked in the rearview mirror. Someone was standing behind the house. I couldn't see their face. They were just standing there, watching me leave. I drove straight home. The next morning, I contacted the delivery company and told them everything. They checked the order history. Then they told me something that made my blood run cold. The address had been removed from their system. They said the customer account connected to that address had been deleted several months earlier. I asked them how I could have received the order. They didn't have an answer. I also asked about the first delivery. They checked the records. The first order had been placed at 11:40 p.m., but there was one problem. The restaurant had closed at 11 p.m. that night. The order shouldn't have been possible. I quit delivering food a few days later. I never went back to that neighborhood, but sometimes I still think about that house, especially the voice I heard from inside. Because there was something I never told the delivery company. When I opened the back door that first night, I saw something in the hallway. There was a man standing at the end of it. He wasn't moving. He was just staring at me. And when I looked down at my phone and received that message telling me not to go inside, I looked back. He was gone. I don't know who that man was. I don't know who placed those orders. And I don't know why someone wanted me to come back. But a few months ago, I received a notification from the same delivery app. It was an old order. The address was hidden. There was no restaurant listed, no customer name, just one instruction. Leave it at the back door. And underneath it, there was a photo. It was a picture of my car, taken from behind the house. I haven't opened the app since.